London does not breathe, it gasps. A heavy, sulfurous yellow vapor clings to your wool coat like physical grease, carrying the copper-like tang of industrial rot. The city's foundation is liquefying. Beneath the clip-clop of horse-drawn carriages, 200,000 cesspools are overtopping their brick banks, seeping silently through the floorboards of the elite and the destitute alike. A young flower girl adjusts her silk scarf to mask the scent, unaware that the bad air she fears is already coating her lungs. She counts her copper coins on a street narrower than a carriage, oblivious to the invisible monsters swirling in her evening tea. The sun is setting on the last normal day. By dawn, the stench will bring the British Empire to its knees. The water has stopped flowing, it has started to churn. A low, wet hiss rises from the riverbanks as the midday sun strikes the mud, releasing a thick, visible vapor that tastes of iron and rot. The heat has reached a lethal 35 degrees, turning the Thames into a massive, open-air fermentation tank. The tide no longer cleanses, it only stirs the cauldron of 1,000 cesspools. Bubbles of methane break the surface of the iridescent soup, physically boiling without fire. A mudlark boy stands frozen on the shore, watching a dead horse rise slowly through the bubbling black depths. The river is no longer water, it is a living weapon, and the wind is about to carry it inland. The porcelain rim is cool, but the liquid inside carries a faint, oily shimmer. As the steam rises, it brings a whisper of the river, a swampy, earthy musk that refuses to be boiled away. The city's lifeblood has turned to venom. While the grand pumps hum with industrial pride, they are merely redistributing the city's sins, drawing directly from a Thames that is more sewage than stream. There is no filter for the microscopic monsters hiding in the Thames mix, only a thin muslin cloth that lets the cholera dance through. A mother stirs a spoonful of sugar into her child's mug, praying the sweetness will mask the grey tint of the water. She believes she is nurturing him, but she is serving a silent killer that will claim him before the week is out. The air inside the Houses of Parliament has become a physical weight, a sickening fog that burns the throat and stings the eyes. The smell is no longer a scent, it is an assault. The machinery of the British Empire has ground to a violent halt. Lawmakers clutch handkerchiefs soaked in chloride of lime to their faces, but the chemical sting cannot block the miasma rising from the fermenting river outside. Committees are abandoned, and the highest courts are fleeing the capital as the heart of global trade is suffocated by its own filth. The system has finally choked on the waste it ignored for a century. A frantic clerk drops a stack of damp ledgers, his stomach heaving as he collapses against the gilded stone. The empire is paralyzed, but will this toxic silence be the end of London, or the birth of something even darker? The city's overcrowding has reached a breaking point. The poor holes are filled to the brim, and the very soil of the parish churchyards is saturated with the gases of the departed. The air is no longer a void, but a pressurized chamber of biological decay, waiting for the temperature to climb just 1 degree higher. Every open window is an invitation to a creeping, invisible miasma that the era's greatest minds still don't understand. An elderly gentleman closes his shutters, savoring a moment of stillness as the gaslight flickers in the deepening gloom. He does not know this is the last breath he will take before the atmosphere turns to liquid poison. The Thames has ceased to be a river. It is a gelatinous graveyard. As the tide turns, it no longer carries the city's sins to the sea, but pushes them back into the heart of the metropolis. The water is now so dense with organic decay that it moves with a slow, sickening heave, a rhythmic mechanical failure that forces the waste of millions to ferment in the relentless heat. A ferryman stabs his oar into the black soup, the wood coming up coated in a tar-like, stinking grease. He looks at the surface and realizes the river isn't flowing, it's growing. What happens when the banks can no longer hold the rot? Beneath the frantic streets, a new world is being carved in brick cavernous tunnels meant to swallow the city's sins. But for now, they are just empty, echoing veins. The old sewers, those crumbling medieval pipes, are bursting, spilling their black contents into the very soil that supports the grandest cathedrals. The modern world is standing on a liquefying foundation of its own waste, a silent ghost that haunts every cellar and every well. An engineer wipes lime dust from his brow, his lantern flickering in a draught that smells of ancient, disturbed earth. He has seen the rot beneath the brick, but can he bury the horror before it consumes everyone above? The sun sets on a city transformed by a smell that changed history. The Great Stink was not just a season of filth, it was the moment an empire realized that its glory was built on a sewer. Today, the giant brick tunnels of Bazalgette still hum beneath your feet, a silent guardian against the darkness we once ignored. But as the climate warms and our systems strain, one question remains. If the river began to boil again, would we notice the scent before it was too late?